Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another Youth Empowerment Show. With me, Dami Lola Shunbayo, your host. And I'm here with fellow host of mine, Christy Paul. How you doing?
Thank you. I'm doing good.
That's
It's
good.
always a pleasure to be here with you all.
Yes, it is.
And to share with you what we have prepared just for you. Well, today we are not all by ourselves.
Oh, no,
we
we're
have
not.
some great people in our midst.
Oh, yes, we do.
And if you would like to introduce yourself.
I am Maria Amaya. You may have seen me from other shows that we've done.
She's part of the furniture.
Oh,
And on our right, we have...
My name is Antonio Wede Zirigbe. You just call me Wede for short. Too long, but yeah.
Wede.
Well, welcome, guys. Today, we kind of have another juicy topic to talk about. Well, we're going to be talking about communication. Why it's important, all that stuff, all the shebang bang about communication. And before I start going into, all what we're going to talk about, let's just give our viewers a rough understanding about what communication is. Because I went straight to the internet for this. Not like I have this on the top of my head. Anyways, communication is the impacting, or exchanging of information by speaking, writing, or using any other medium to pass on information. And I mean, I'm not going to say too much about communication because communication is something we do every day. Like we speak to somebody, I speak to you, you speak back to me, that's communication. We do it through the phones, we do it online these days. But the reason why I brought this, or why, I thought that we should talk about this, is because sometimes communication is misunderstood. A lot of people don't understand why it's important to actually communicate effectively. And the first question that comes to my mind is there good communication or bad communication? Let's start with our left. What do you think?
I would say there's always been bad communication and good communication.
So where do you stand? Is it a yes or a no?
Definitely a yes.
What do you think?
Oh yeah, sure, definitely,
Okay.
definitely.
And Christy, what do you think as well?
Well, is it a direct question?
It's a
'Cause
direct
I was
question. This
back-
is yes. No. Direct question with the yes or no thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there is something of bad and good communication. So, why do you say that there is something like good or bad communication?
Sorry.
No, you gotta
Well,
come first.
it depends. It depends on where the message is coming from and how the message is received. So, obviously, your intention and perception matters. Those are the two key elements, I would say, in communication. And some people are good when decoding information. Some people aren't that good. Like I said, based on the angle where they are in life. So, for example, I come in and tell you, "Oh, you need to lose some weight, Charles," or someone. And Charles, on his end of the other receiving end of communication, might say, "You're trying to say I'm fat? I don't like that." And some people might be, "Oh my God, truly, I really need to actually lose weight." Maybe because their perception is different from Charles's perception of losing weight. So again, that statement that isn't bad or good is a plain neutral statement. People will perceive it in different ways.
So it's basically, yes, you're saying your point. It's just how the other part is actually perceiving.
yes.
Or like you said,
But
Or,
then
or
again-
does it boil down to, sorry to cut you,
Go on.
to how the person is communicating it, how they choose the words that they use?
How
Definitely.
it's
All
said.
right. So for one, right? Because like I always say something. There's this thing in life where they say it's just not about the event, but how you react to the event. So the event is like 10%. 90% is how you react to it. So yes, it's important how somebody delivers the message to you. That is important. Sometimes it might come off rude. It might come off just nasty, just
yeah.
not nice. And sometimes it might just come out neutral. So like I said, it always depends on the person's perception, the person receiving the information. So even if you bring it out as bad or good, the last thing is the person, the
how the
determining
person
factor
takes
is
it.
that's how the person perceives, the communication or, the information he or she is given. You know
That's
what I
very
mean?
true. I do know what you mean. And that's how I always say, my own motto is it's not what you say that's very important. It's actually how you say it.
Yeah.
Because, like I already said, people are different. You know, when you say something, you would think in your own head that, oh, it's fine. Well, I said, like, you know, back to your example. Back to the example of what you said about, you know, Charles.
Someone losing weight.
Do
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like you just said it to Charles. Yo, Charles, man, come on. Any Charles, by the way.
Yeah,
I was about to
Charles.
say
I know.
Charles out there.
Or
If there's a
Jeremy
Charles out
or
there,
Christopher or
that's, you
whoever,
know.
anyone.
Oh my God.
I'm not trying to offend any Charles. It's an
Yeah.
example.
Just an
okay?
example, please, guys.
But it's like you say something to Charles, and you didn't mean it in the most horrible of ways. You
Yeah.
just were being genuine. That, bro, I just think you need to lose weight. But to Charles, he thinks you're being rude, or he could just think it like, oh wait, you're being rude about my weight. Whoa, 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 whoa. So it's, I always say, well, back to the motto is, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. That's more important.
And I'm sorry, just to stop you short, I think as well, it's how you relate to yourself that is important. The first key point of communication is knowing how to communicate with thyself. So if you're very negative, no matter the information being thrown at you, you would take it negatively.
Negative, yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's still. So I've met people that, you know, the most neutral thing you can say to them, they're like, they just pick out the, even if it's not
They'll-
nasty, they'll pick out something that they would twist and say that's what the
They'll
person
pick out
meant.
letter Z, and,
Exactly.
and this time you're talking about B.
Exactly.
Makes sense. Nah,
Exactly.
so
That's
no.
what I was telling Christy earlier on, that sometimes in communication, like when we did MassCom, they say, you know, when you encode a message, you give it out. The person that decodes it is the most important thing. So if you decode, it's time to eat lunch. Someone from wherever, like a very, you know, myopic mindset or whatever, backward mindset might think, oh, this one thinks I'm hungry now. You know what I'm saying?
How
So
dare
that's
you.
how they encoded the message. Well, another person like, oh, it's just time to eat lunch. They
Yeah.
just they decoded the message neutrally. You know, so everybody has, like you said, a different place of angles of perception. It's really key to how you communicate and how you receive communication.
Yeah, I agree to that. I mean, I do agree to that. You know, communication is crazy because it's like whatever you say, you should be careful of what you say all the time because, like, it's back to what I said. It's just perceiving it, and also, you know, you that's actually listening. I think listening is very, very,
Very key, so key. I can't stress it enough.
I agree with that too as well. I mean, did you wanted to say something earlier, but I know you tried to say and I interrupted you. Did you?
No, I think when they touched on it, she talked about how it's decoded. I think that sometimes, and I think you touched on it as well. You
Yes,
said
that.
that it's not how
It's
you
not
say
what
it.
you say; it's
Yeah.
how you say
How you
it.
say
Yeah.
it,
Yeah, so I think that y'all covered it already. I have
Alright.
nothing to say or adding to it.
So yeah, go on.
I think that communication, it comes with understanding as well. Like you said,
like
that is
that.
how it's decoded on the other side. So sometimes when something is communicated to us, we need to just stop, wait back. If we know we have a negative mindset, then stop, wait back. Is this what you mean? Or, you know, try to find out.
At
I
least
like that. I like that. There's one thing my mom always says. Sorry, she says it's never good to react. It's always good to respond. Now reacting is immediate response, like there's that negative thing just come immediate or positive, you know. But sometimes it's good to like just calm down, process it, really process it, and then that's how you respond. So if the person meant something negative in the first place, and if you're a positive person, that optimistic, you just immediately change it to positivity. That is good, but sometimes you need to sit back. Reflect on what the message was. Pick out what you need to pick out. Evaluate the message and then evaluate the person giving you the message. And then you understand the full communication is done.
Yeah.
So you know how to relate next time when you're communicating with that same person.
Yeah.
that
You know
way.
what I mean?
you
So
know
it's
how to
both
approach.
positive and so exactly approach on how you communicate.
I agree with that too as well. It's just, yeah. Well,
So in all, I think communication is a skill that we need to build on, isn't it?
Oh yes.
Oh yeah, it's one of the hardest skills to build. That for most people, it's one of the hardest skills to build because there's no guidebook to it.
No, there isn't.
You know,
yeah,
say
there's no manual.
exactly. There's really no manual to communication, but you do have some rules that have been set up upon us by just either our biology or the way that we've been raised or the way that we just feel most comfortable interacting with people. Sometimes we'll interact with people and they won't understand the way that we're encoding a message because
Definitely.
because it's just a completely different language. You know, say
I like
some
that. That's
people
something-
some people don't register sarcasm.
Yes.
Some people
Oh, yeah.
don't register dark humor. Some people don't register that something that may be coded as positive is actually intended to be negative, and vice versa. And that I think is one of the biggest it's one of the biggest issues that people find when they're speaking over conversation over text, because you don't have that sort of tone of voice.
Yeah.
You don't have that character behind your speech. Right.
That's definitely true. I was like, you said something really key. That's what brings me back to communication. It's like verbal and non-verbal linguistics as signs of systems. And the systems are different. You know, you can, like you said, you can through humor, dark humor, through chats. I know people misread chats a lot.
Oh yes,
yeah.
So that is a lot. I've had that kind of experience
Honestly,
before.
people say I grew up under a rock because I never understood chat linguistics. I did not know that if you punctuate your sentence, you automatically come off as angry.
Exactly.
Pardon me, I'm not angry.
Exactly.
Using capital letters.
Yes, they're like, why are you shouting at me?
I'm not even shouting.
The letter capital K with a full stop.
You know the funniest one? Has to be the funniest one. The people that always, on text here, that'll be like LOL, but really and truly, they're not really laughing.
Dead serious.
I've met people like that. Their face are like dead cold.
They're not
straight.
laughing. Do you know what I mean?
LOL.
They sent you LOL, but really and truly, they're not laughing. And it's just like, but it goes back to the fact that, it's all misconstrued. What was the word?
Miscommunication.
Yeah.
That's exactly. It's just from texting is a form of communication.
It is.
Yes.
It's an art.
But in this day and age, it's actually turned to the point that people don't actually understand whatever you're writing. They don't get that same meaning from when you're actually in front of them. They don't understand. Oh, when you're actually texting them, they're like, hold up, are you just trying to be rude to me? Like, do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, yeah.
It's different from actually.
to, is texting the most effective way to communicate?
I like that.
It's the most it's the most bare bones way to communicate, I would say, but it's definitely not the most effective.
Hence why social media platforms, nearly all of them have included video calls because they believe that text is not enough.
Video call,
Because I
video
can't
calls
tell you,
and
I can't tell if they're
emojis.
being truthful
Yeah.
to me.
No,
I need to
it's
see
not.
your face. I need to read
Yeah.
your face. And see, that's where non-expressive communication or non-verbal communication comes into play. Because there's verbal oral, there's verbal text. But when it comes to non-verbal, so it's like expression, mannerisms, all that stuff. So we can tell from a video call if this person is really pretending or this person is really upset, or So if you're upset, someone that's have that what do you call that word? Ability to read people can understand that this person is not is not in the mood.
It's not in the mood.
Yeah.
But see, that's actually a form of communication.
Yeah, non-expressive.
Touching on that, I've read a couple of documentaries that say that you can tell a person's vibe just by being in their presence. It's not even by those physical cues that they give off. Humans automatically give you humans have chemical messengers that just excrete from them. And if someone gives you a bad vibe, listen to your gut instincts.
Oh, definitely.
It's not someone you want to communicate with because they are going to hurt you and use you and just damage your personal life.
I agree.
So
with
I'd
that.
say listen to your body when you're communicating.
See, that's like a form of communicating.
Yeah, it is.
Where you're going, so
Yeah, it's subconscious.
No, I was just thinking that texting actually takes out the bit of us that is the human, where we come together and feel and vibe with each other. It just takes
it's
it
rubbed
away.
off. It's rubbed us off from that. There's that extra thing, when you're actually face to face with someone, the true whatever
Empathy.
the true empathy, all the things
True
you want
energy.
all the things that you really want to say. When you do say it, the other person will actually be able to understand. Texting has taken that away because you could be just saying I love you, and then the other person be like,
oh, this is good. This is so good. Do you know what I was going to say when you
What were you
said
gonna
that? That
say?
is so good. That boils down to knowing how you communicate with yourself. So when it comes to, I think
I
text,
was going to
text has
touch
a
on
way.
that.
Text has a way of playing mind games with you. It's like a reflection of who you are. So if you send me a text, I will take it based on who I am.
Oh yeah.
You get what I mean? Because I'm not
Interpret
seeing
it
how you
based on
really
your
feel.
mindset, yeah.
I'm not feeling your vibes. I'm not in that text. I'm feeling my vibes. I'm
Yeah.
like, this person probably feels like this. This person probably feels like that. I'm just second guessing you.
and that's not
Based
even
on who
good.
I am. That's not
Exactly,
good.
and that's not even
That's
good
not
for me
good
to
at
be
all.
doing that on the text. That's why that's why I said that texting has rubbed us off from that thing as well. And then I'm even thinking, because before I even go to the next one, I'm like, communication is very, very important. We've already established that, right? But I think communication with yourself
Oh, definitely.
It's the first thing to do, which is also goes back to that first video that we did. You know, it always goes back to
Yes,
that self-awareness. You know what I'm saying? It always goes back to that self-awareness, because once you're able to communicate with yourself and actually know, okay, this is what I like, or this is what triggers me with someone that's talking to me, or you know what, I know that if I say this, this is what's going to trigger the other person. Once you start figuring out, okay, this is how I should speak. Why? Because there's a problem with me. Okay. I have a struggle with my tone of voice.
Let's go therapy time.
Yeah, it's a therapy time. let me get into position. Well, today, madam, I just, you know, it's been a long day. I feel not a lot of people are understanding the way I feel. Oh, out of character now. But exactly, you know, with communication with yourself, it's like, it's so vital, because if you don't understand kind of things that triggers you, if you don't understand that first, anything around you, anything that anybody would say, I think triggers you before you even.
Definitely.
Oh, definitely.
Just because you just don't know or understand you.
Have you heard of that saying when someone goes, "Oh, you just misunderstood"? Now that person doesn't really know you. You're the one that knows yourself better than anyone else.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But then I think most people, like, because we fail to. I always tell myself, and this might sound silly to you guys, but I always tell myself I need to always understand my love language, and I always need to understand my anger language, my mannerism kind of language. All that stuff is important. So when I start to feel myself, when I come in public with other people, because I feel myself enough and I'm confident enough that I've communicated rightly with myself, I feel I could literally encode it to other people, send it out, and then that's what I said to you in the beginning, that it's not really for someone like me, because I kind of know myself to a certain reasonable degree. I would say that whatever message I pass on, 80%, how you perceive it is your business. Because I've already given you, and that because I believe that I have worked on myself. I'm still working on myself. You know, everyone still works on themselves. You know, but then I'm still working on myself to like make sure that every message that comes out of me comes out the right way, my right way, where there's right way, because my right way is different from your right way. Hence, different perception.
Yeah.
You know.
Very true.
Like that. So
And you know, the next question I was going to say or ask is, we kind of already touched on it. But why is it very important to communicate effectively? You know, why? Just the why.
Ooh.
Who wants to start it off first?
Okay.
I will say, humans, as a species, we have been, from the beginning, we have been pack animals, you know. And I will refer it to that just that simple. That is what we are. If we cannot communicate, we do not fit into society. If we do not fit into society, that automatically triggers a psychological and therefore physical response from us of
inferior.
No, not even inferior. You cannot communicate, you do not fit in society, you do not survive in society. You just do not survive, full stop. Because humans need a group to survive. Right? So I'm thinking if you do not know how to communicate, then what your problem is your physical and mental self does not understand that you are still alive.
True.
Right? It's thinking,
I like that.
I am on a time limit, help.
Yeah, exactly. But then the question
It's effectively.
is effective, but why? Why is it?
Let me tell you why. Just
Yes.
an example. Just going overboard. Sorry, people. Stop a war. Come on. I know, as bad as Trump may be, as bad as some other presidents may be, because of effective communication, hence no war. Because of effective communication in the banking system, hence no economical crisis. Because of effective communication in a family, hence no probably divorce, or you know, a child being upset and feeling he's in a very dysfunctional family, or whatever you have. You know, effective communication in a relationship, hence a strong relationship. Couple go, yeah, all that stuff. So you know, effectiveness, which is the key factor here that you're talking about, is like the bridge that links two perspectives together. And without that solid bridge, trust me, ain't no going nowhere, baby.
I know so funny about it's so funny he said war, stop war. It's so funny how communication can actually save a lot. For example, the war, you can stop a war by just talking it out.
Yeah,
okay.
effectively.
There are many times on the street, I gotta drop this out there. But like on the street, like say, obviously the man them, when you're on the street and you just get moved up by some next gangster and he's like, yo, give me your money or something, or I'm about to rob you, or something crazy, you know what I'm saying? the power of talking could actually save you from that moment.
Oh yeah,
It's like,
that's a
bro,
different type
let
of
me talk to
talking,
you
though.
about Jesus Christ. I'm joking. But,
That's a
but like, you know what I
okay,
mean?
Yeah, I get you there.
But-
That's a different type of talking.
But
though.
what-
That's
one-
manipulation.
one-
I was gonna say, okay, go on.
One point that you made was bridging two perspectives together. So there is some type of understanding. So
definitely.
what you send out, that's the same thing that the other party is.
It's received.
Yes.
Exactly.
So that's one of the things I
Yeah, very
believe.
That's
Right.
what makes it effective.
Yes.
Very,
Without
very,
that,
Yes.
it's like
important.
nothing. I was gonna say something
said,
like
well said.
he said something that verbal, but I'm gonna say this: non-verbal communication is the strongest communication any human being can ever have. Look at animals, for example. How do animals communicate? They don't talk. Yeah, some of them can make oral sounds and all that stuff. But what makes an animal bond strong is the fact that they have non-verbal communication. Hence the energy. Hence why a man can be around a group of lions and people are like, why hasn't the lion chowed him yet, eaten him yet? Like, yo, I thought lions, no. He understands the importance of silence. He understands the importance of, non-verbal, how to speak without speaking, how to communicate without literally voicing out communication. So I think if we human beings tend to, that's why they say, find your middle ground or find your balance, or what do they say, your chakra, your happy place.
Open your chakra.
Open your chakra,
Yeah.
find your balance. Truthfully, whatever religion you are, whatever.
Find
but I
that
think-
inner voice inside your head that narrates everything to you.
Exactly, and I think everybody needs to find out that balance in them. Hence, the COVID-19, I think, for some people it was effective communication, they built it themselves. Some people, the effective communication was tarnished negatively. Hence, they've withdrawn, they've been in
Yeah.
a cave. Now they've come out to the world and they don't know how to communicate with people properly.
Oh yes.
It's like,
oh yes,
yo.
I've been there.
Yeah, she does sound like she's been there too.
I've encountered that person that
of course,
forgot
cavemen.
communication.
Cavemen.
Yeah.
But they
They
are
have that
cavemen, yeah.
caveman,
Mentality,
syndrome.
because-
Yeah, it's like,
I think this is
Yeah. It's cabin fever.
No way,
yeah,
no way.
cabin,
We won't bring that up.
exactly. Cabin fever.
But you,
Here's the truth.
cabin fever. Oh my god, it's like you're lost in some
Wow.
next place. But you know what? It's you guys are kind of hit the nail on the head about why it's important to communicate effectively, because in a broad summary, communicating effectively, it saves a lot of issues. It saves a lot of stresses,
yeah.
And time.
and then it's like if you are speaking clearly,
Oh yeah,
the other party would actually understand you
I like
clearly.
That. I like that.
No, because me, the way I explain things, okay, I'm such a lame man when it comes to explaining. I don't go for the sophisticated words, man. I'm just like trying to be easy here. But like, I don't go for the big words. I just say as it kind of like the best way to explain it, because communicating effectively, it kind of helps you get your point across. Because think about it, there's a lot of, like, I don't want to talk too much about mental health, okay, but I want to bring in, just because if you're going through a situation, you're going through something, yes, people are, they find it hard to understand or whatever. But if you actually have somebody out there that actually listens and understands, you find it much more easier to, communicate.
Yeah.
And when you communicate clearly to that person, whoever it is, they'll be able to understand your situation and help you from there. That's why I think one of the reasons why it's important to communicate effectively. But then there was something you said, okay? You said non-verbal communication. And I wrote here, is silence a form? Is silence a form of communication?
Oh yes.
I think. Yeah.
Oh yes. In fact, let's see. Listen, here, I prefer silence than actually talking. I do talk a lot, forgive me. But then I prefer silence is like, yo, I can feed off energy just by silence. And I would know if I want to communicate with you verbally or not.
Doesn't it just remind you, sorry to even call, doesn't it just remind you about, well, for me, in a Nigerian home, if you did something, okay, or in fact, your mom say,
my God.
your mom won't say nothing.
No,
Mom-
you get it.
Do you know what I'm saying? Mom will not say anything to you. You just ate the meat out of the pot.
You're not
Okay,
supposed to.
she knows you did that. Okay, and she's mad because you obviously said yes, and she doesn't even say nothing.
And you feel it. That's when you feel it the more.
Yeah, silent treatment
That one, you
is
just
the
like,
worst.
It's like you're dying inside.
That's the worst.
No
So
escape, man.
Silent treatment is designed to make
Yeah,
you
silent
feel
treatment.
socially devoid of contact, and that absence of contact makes you feel insecure. It makes you feel vulnerable. It makes you feel
it
like
does.
I'm on my own again. Help!
I like that, but you see, that's the negative side of just like there's negative side of
Which
verbal
is not bad to
communication
touch on.
and negative side of non-verbal communication. But I'm looking at the positive now of obviously verbal communication, hence be effective, be clear, be precise, be detailed enough so the next person can understand fully what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
And then the non-verbal communication is you guys are vibing on the same energy. Now, if I come and I'm quiet, doesn't mean I'm angry with you. If you see me the first day and turn weather's not talking, but I'm smiling at you. I'm doing things. I look at you and I'm showing that I'm giving you eye contact. I'm like, no, seriously. I do that sometimes. And people are like, I swear they're angry. I'm not angry, y'all. I'm just feeding off the energy for today because I feel my voice needs to rest. And I just need to highlight my intuition more. I'm building my intuition. I'm building my subconscious and state of mind to know that, okay, I like the energy in the room. Let me keep quiet for a bit and let me listen to the energy, and that's what will drive further communication or not.
And that goes back to, then you see how when you said people just, it goes back to the perceiving the other party, because you're silent, you're quiet. To them, they're like, okay, why is she being weird for?
I mean, there's different reactions.
Different reactions.
Do you know what I'm trying to say? Exactly. You're being silent from a point of, you've seen the energy of the room, you realize, then you're like, you know what, I don't want to say much because I don't think I need to say much. But the other party would think about it like, whoa, I mean, like, why are you being
Say
antisocial?
something, I'm giving up.
I don't want to say it. Oh my God, no. Should I sing? No, I'm joking.
No,
But
we
no,
can't
exactly
sing, it's
that.
copyrighted.
Is that moment where they're like, it's back to that moment of people perceiving whatever you're giving out, and because they don't understand your communication, your style of communication, they
Can I
get mad.
ask a question that pop up? In that moment when you're in the room, would you say that you communicating effectively by just being silent?
I would say it depends on the crowd of people or the person who's there with you. See, one thing I've noticed in life is it's not just about you, but the person at the receiving end. And someone like me, through silence, I would know, because I try to build my non-verbal side and my verbal side of communication.
It's very spiritual.
So,
side
and it's
communication?
very spiritual when you're quiet. That's why I said the highest form of communication is silence, because then your intuition, your mind will start to build and stuff like that. If you're the right fit. Like there's this thing I used to say when it comes to silent communication, right? If you're in a gathering, for example, and you guys are getting along, you're talking, but then it's like a key, a doorknob, and a key. The key fits, right? You guys are talking, but there's a key click to open the door. Hence why you need to keep quiet sometimes and let your mind talk to you whilst you're being there. You know what I mean? So sometimes it's like we talk too much and we forget to try and understand each other. That's like people say you talk to reply. You don't talk to understand, or you don't listen to understand, you just listen to reply. Sometimes you need to keep quiet and process.
Yes.
And enjoy,
see whether it's even worth it for me to have response.
You know what I mean? So it saves a lot of energy and time, to be honest. I'm not gonna lie to
I
you.
agree
I
to
think
that
that
too.
social media has had a big, social platforms have had a big impact on how people express their own ways of communication. You can't reply with silence because silence is automatically seen as ignorance in the social media environment, right? But in the real world, it's a bit more complicated than that, and people forget to differentiate.
Or back again. See, that's why I said different perceptions. Like your perception is ignorance. Someone else's perception might be they don't want to get involved, they don't want to be in trouble. Someone's perception might be, maybe the person's just not around. Maybe the person is late, no more.
Yeah.
There are so many accounts on
So
social media,
many ways,
that
yes.
they're dead. Obviously, who's going to be operating the account? Obviously, silent, And then there's some people, and then there's some people, it's like, okay, for example, when they're doing some crazy stuff that was happening in Nigeria and they're trying to protest and all that stuff, some celebs are quiet. Doesn't mean they're ignorant.
No, that's
It just means they're trying to play politics. Some of them, don't get me wrong. And some of them is like, okay, they just don't know what to say.
Yeah, how do you
different
respond?
different perceptions for different people. So silence, different perception, verbal, different perception. So it just depends on where you stand.
It depends on that moment. Yeah, exactly where you stand and
what
where
is
that
your
moment.
stance at that moment?
And sometimes sometimes being silent is always the good answer because it saves you from a lot of stuff, and that's what I would say. So to be honest, that's what I think about silence. But also we're gonna round it up, just because we gotta stick to the time.
No.
Yes, we gotta stick to the time. So we've kind of, we've, talked about lots about communications in part 1. Yes, stay tuned to part 2. We're going to let you guys know about what's going on more topics on communication. But a quick roundup. Does anybody have anything they would like to say, just a bit more about communication? 1 minute to summarize. Anybody? Nobody?
No, I just want to speak to our guest and
Okay.
ask if you have ever had issues, in communication. Leave it down below. How did you deal with it? How did you build that skill? Leave it in the comment section.
I agree
Yeah.
with that. Yes, I agree with that. Well, it seems like everyone's not saying anything, which is all good. Okay,
We've taken the silence.
Exactly, you guys are
exactly.
We
communicating.
communicate
in
in
silence. Yeah.
There is a
Oh,
vibe.
busy.
Exactly.
There's a vibe.
I love it. They're paying attention. So now that we've come to the end of part 1, I want to say thank you so much to all the people that have actually stayed tuned to hear us talk about, communicate back and forth.
Yeah.
Tea stuff.
Good. Anyways, but so I'm glad that we've done that. Like I said, we've come to the end. And if there's anybody that actually has any idea, anything they would like to promote, any business that they're doing, and you feel like you want to showcase it to the world, okay, please message us. Please call us on this number that's going to be on your screen in like 2 seconds. There you go. +4479 319 62675, or call us on 0207 274 2699. Please, any idea, any business is good business, because there's people out there, there's loads of people in the world, you guys know that already, then there's somebody out there that wants to have a piece of your business. So please call this number and we'll be able to put it on platforms of YouTube, Instagram, in fact, you name it, all the platforms. Please call that number on your screen. Well, thank you very, very, very much, ladies, and thanks for staying tuned for part 1, and we'll be back. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.